What's up, everyone? I am 2 weeks postpartum. Look at my belly is gone. It's gone. No more baby. The baby's right here. There's the baby waking up. So I wanted to share my birth story. And what induced my labor naturally. This is amazing. So the three other babies were induced. First one was preeclampsia reasons. Second was placenta abruption and traumatizing births. Third one was just because it was elective. Now, the fourth one was not induced. It was all natural. And I doubted myself and was thinking, is my body actually going to go into labor by itself this time? It did. And my due date was July 20th. The baby decided to come out July 16th. And I wanted to share some things I did to help my body progress there. So 5 days prior, I did a membrane sweep. People think it works 48 hours. It can take a week to work. Mine took 5 days. It does work if they do it right. Sometimes you need 2 sweeps just to get it. Especially if it's your fourth baby, piece of cake. Second baby, maybe, first one always takes forever. But this is my fourth, so it was pretty quick. So 5 days later, I went into labor. So I have done research. Obviously, this is the fourth baby, so I've done everything in my previous to try everything. Those little old wives' tales do not work with the spicy food, this. No. What works to induce your labor is, so my doctor told me intimacy is something that kind of progresses labor because that semen has hormones to ripen your cervix. That worked. Also, there's this new thing called curbside walking. So basically your foot stays on the curb and you walk like this. But I didn't have a curb. I'm in the middle of nowhere. So I have to use a stool. So I stepped on the stool, stepped off, stepped on, stepped off, stepped on, stepped off. Then I did that for 30 minutes and then I did 10 minutes on the other side. So step on, step off, step on, step off. I kept doing that I started that after the membrane sweep. So I did that for 5 days in a row. There was one day in between where I did short day because I was just tired because I'm a mom with 2 kids under me, 1 and 0, so under age 2. That's a lot of work. But yeah, so I did that, and then I also did side lying position. I noticed every time I would lay on my left side with a pillow between my legs, like a thick pillow. So people use peanut balls. So I laid on my side with the pillow between my legs, thick pillow, and I noticed every time I did that, I felt pressure and cramps, and I felt like the head was getting lower because I could feel the hiccups, and it felt kind of low each time. But when I didn't do that, it's almost like the baby was playing peekaboo, pulling up out of the cervix, going down, up, down, down. But I noticed every time I did that, there was some sort of progression. And then I looked up the 30-mile circuit thing that everyone says to do. That position was on that 30-mile circuit. So I'm like, that side-lying position works. And I also done squats. I did a 10-minute workout of squats and lunges and just squatting. I've been doing that my whole pregnancy, actually. Been doing the squats. So obviously the side-lying position has worked. So now we're going into the 16th. On the 16th, I woke up at 8 in the morning and I noticed I was cramping. I didn't feel so okay. So I said, I better go pee because you start cramping if you don't pee. So I went pee and I noticed some blood. Wasn't a massive amount, it was just some blood. And I'm like, that's a good sign because that means my cervix is ripening. Then I noticed some pressure, some head pushing pressure. So it felt like head pushing pressure, like the baby's pushing out really hard. And then 4 minutes go by and it's pushing out again so hard. And then I'm like, okay, 6 minutes later, pushing out so hard. And I'm thinking, gosh, this baby's really adjusting. No, that's contractions. that is so weird because I've never went into labor naturally by myself. That push feeling, that banging push feeling, like of hard pushing and it hurts, like, ah, that hurts, into your back or into your front, is contractions. I picked up on that after he's done it. The baby has done that like multiple times. So I was like, I'm going to start timing these. And it kept more and more and more and more. And then fluid came out after I used the restroom. And I thought maybe I just peed myself, maybe not. And I smelled it and it was not pee. I picked up that might be some of my water breaking. So, and then the pushing thing happened again. And then happened again. And then I called my mom and told her about it. And she's like, that sounds like you need to go in. So I finally walk into the bedroom. My husband is sleeping peacefully. Kids are just waking up. They probably woke up to me going, ow. I started to get in pain. Like, these were painful pushing. And I was like, wow, he's really adjusting himself and it hurts. And I always second guess myself because I don't know what natural, real labor feels like without Pitocin. It feels like the baby's literally adjusting. It hurts. So I finally wake up my husband after I felt a trickle down my leg. And I'm thinking, I say, hey, it's time. So he wakes up, looks at me. And I'm like, no, it's really time. Because I know when it's time. I'm very stubborn. I won't go to the hospital unless I know. So I finally knew, and it started getting more painful and painful. It didn't go away when I was walking. It didn't go away changing my position. These pushing pains kept going. So that's how I knew, since that painful, weird pushing feeling didn't go away, it was labor. So at my last checkup prior, when I got my membrane sweep, I was a 3 centimeter. That was the day I got my membrane sweeped. 5 days later, I finally went into labor. Membrane sweep don't always work. So this one did, because it could take a week. So 5 days later, I had gone into labor, and you're wondering, the membrane sweep, I had bloody show happen. That's a sign. But I do want to say what put me into labor was the side lying position, because I was laying sideways through the night with the pillow between my legs. That's something that's done in the 30-mile circuit videos that I've seen. And I'm like, oh, that's a good idea. They do in the 30-mile circuit videos that put people in labor. They lie on their side with a pillow between their legs for like 40 minutes. And I'm like, But I've noticed that every time I did do that, it did progress my labor, and it felt like the head was going more down. So I swear to you guys, that is something that put me into labor, believe it or not, is laying on my side with a pillow between my legs, helping that baby engage his head down. That's what puts you into labor. You just need the head to engage into your cervix. You need it to press down on that cervix so you can dilate and get you into labor. On my way to the hospital, when I told my husband it's time, I started getting more and more pain. And I'm like, oh, I'm miserable. And some of them I just cry. I'm like, oh, this hurts. And then I get like a long break in between, which is nice. And I'm thinking, I must be 4. There's no way I'm like further than that, because it's not so painful. So I get there and they check me. I'm a 4. They didn't feel my water bag, so they assumed that most of it broke. Not all of it. Trust me, not all of it. So they admit me because I'm a 4, and I was having contractions and painful. So they admit me, and then I'm admitted, and then I go to the back of the room, and then all of a sudden I started getting more and more contractions. And they put the monitor on, check the baby's heart, all looking good. And I'm walking around the room and bouncing on the bouncy ball. Sometimes, not a lot. I didn't really use that a lot. And then all of a sudden I'm getting more and more contractions as I'm standing up. I'm like, oh, it hurts, it hurts, it hurts. And then, to give you an idea, 8 in the morning is when I started my labor. And then by 4:37, baby was out. So let me give you an idea. So 8 in the morning, I'm at home. Takes me like an hour to get ready. So I got to the hospital around 9. They admitted me around like 9:30 or 10. stuff started progressing and getting some more painful, and there's a lot of breaks in between. I didn't even have breakfast, so they gave me like lemon ice and liquid stuff, and that was miserable. To kind of help me boost my energy, I suggest you guys do that. Ask for some liquid, something, because you need some sugar to give you energy. I don't know why they cut some people off and do ice chips. Oh, heck no. You need your energy. So I did that. I did black tea to give me some caffeine boost. And stuff started progressing later and later. Around like 2, my water started gushing everywhere. And then it stopped. And then it was great. And then more contractions. And then more water gushing. Let me just tell you, your water will just keep gushing and gushing until the baby's out. It's just so weird to me. It's not just one big giant gush. Some people have that, but mine was like spontaneous. And all of a sudden, it started getting worse and worse. And I said, please, like, check me. And I'm like, having them check me around 3. And I was a 6 centimeter dilated. And I'm like, oh, I'm so miserable. And then it started getting more and more painful to the point where, like, I don't even want to walk anymore. I'm just going to sit in this bed. So I sat the back up all the way and sat like a seat. Just could not even think. I couldn't even speak. My mind just went blank. I was just silent, staring. Everyone around me, I could hear them, but I just could not speak because it got so painful. My mom and dad have shown up. I had my mother-in-law there, and my husband was there. As soon as my dad showed up, I told him that the monitors have noticed that the baby's heart was dropping, and he's a cardiologist, pediatric, so he told me to change my position. This is around like 3, maybe 4, I don't even know. But I lay on my left side because the doctor and all them came in to let me know the heart was dropping anyways. So I laid on my left side. As soon as I did that, it made the heart better. The baby liked me on my left side. That's what started my labor in the first place, was laying on my side with the pillow between my legs. So I put the pillow between my legs, laid on my side. Oh man, the contractions were coming like boom, 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 so close together. And I'm like, so I tell the doctor to come check me. She's like, you're 6. 100% face, so like soft. And then I look at her. I said, don't leave, after she checked me. And she's looking at me like, okay. I was like, don't leave. And like, when I say that, that means I know something's gonna be coming out. So all of a sudden, not even a minute goes by, I'm thinking, okay, check me again. I'm pushing. It's time. And she puts her finger in there. She's like, oh, let's have a baby. So I flip over to the position they want you to push the baby out. They're lifting my legs up. All of a sudden, I'm pushing baby quickly out, very fast, very, very quickly. I don't even know how long it took, like maybe 2 or 3 minutes, and he was out. It burnt really bad because this is natural labor, guys. This is not numbed or anything. It's natural. So it burned so bad when he was down there. And I was just like, get him out. Just at that point, just get him out. So I'm pushing and pushing, and then he finally came out at 4:37. It was automatically relieved. But there's still some contractions because I had to push the placenta out. And oh my gosh, guys, it was so quick. So everything started at home, like early labor feelings, not so painful, around 8 in the morning, if that gives you an idea. When I woke up, baby was out by 4:37, if that makes sense. So it took that long. And it wasn't that long. And that was pretty awesome, guys. If you have a chance to not use Pitocin, do it, because it's not so painful. I have had Pitocin 3 times, and that is painful as hell. And I did 3 natural labors, 2 with Pitocin, 1 without. The one without was the best. It was the least painful. And it was quick. So quick that the baby swallowed some bloody fluid and was spitting it out. So that's the bad side if it's too quick. But that is what induced my labor, and that's my birth story of how quick it was, and to give you guys hope. You can go into natural labor after you've been induced. It does happen. Just be patient. It will happen. And just remember all the positions that I told you that worked. All right? Thank you guys for listening, and talk to you guys soon.